Hi, I'm Anthony Johnson, Senior Vice President here at Mortgage Educators and Compliance, and today I'm going to discuss with you the 4 things you need to do if you fail the SAFE National Mortgage Test. Unfortunately, this does happen. The stats that we're given from the NMLS, the nationwide multi-state licensing system, tell us almost half of everyone who attempts the National Mortgage Test fail on the first attempt. But there's a very important statistic that they have also shared with us that gives you hope. That if you continue to attempt the National Mortgage Test, you will eventually pass. And that stat is close to the 90 percentile of those that do not quit and continue to try to pass the test. So, is it difficult to pass? Yes. If you find yourself in this situation, we're going to give you these 4 things you can do so that you can continue on your path to becoming a licensed mortgage loan originator. Number 1, don't get discouraged. I know this is easier said than done, but understand that this is a marathon, not a sprint. So there's lots of things need to happen, need to line up for you as far as passing the test, and then you go through your credit and your background check. And so this is sometimes a longer process. Don't get discouraged if you return back and you did not pass on the first attempt. So remember, when you go to the testing center, which is a Prometrics testing center, it's a test facility that administers the test, and you submit all your answers in that controlled environment on a computer, you're going to get your score right away. And so we get a lot of calls after the test has been submitted on that day of people that maybe didn't get a favorable test score. And we always try to be encouraging. Look at the big picture. You can do this, but there's a couple things that you can do to adjust how you can pass that national test. But first of all, don't get discouraged. About half don't pass that attempt the National Mortgage Test on the first attempt. They do not pass, so don't get discouraged. Number 2, analyze your score. You're going to be given a test score on the 5 areas you're tested on right away. You're going to get a printout. You can also get it emailed to you. And so understand your score. Where are you lacking? So there's 5 areas you are tested on in the national test, but all those 5 areas have different amounts of questions pertaining to that topic. For example, federal mortgage knowledge versus the uniform state content. The percentage is different. So what your job is to do if you've failed the exam is to determine what area you are struggling in. It'll say if you're adequate, above and below, or if you excel in a certain topic. So if you can determine what area you're struggling in, then you know exactly what you can focus on in the upcoming weeks as you study for your second attempt. So let's just go over briefly the 5 areas and their associated percentages on the SAFE National Mortgage Test. The 5 areas are federal mortgage knowledge. Okay, so these are laws pertaining to the mortgage industry. You're talking about TILA, RESPA, FACTA, FCRA. These are all federal mortgage laws. That is approximately 24% of the exam questions that you're going to receive. The second area is the uniform state content. That is 11%. It's the lowest percentage. Okay, so as you analyze your score, how did you score in these different areas? And so, for instance, uniform state content, these are questions that are related specifically to states, not to the state itself, but state laws. Okay, so that is the lowest percentage. And so you can kind of, consider that when you analyze your score. The third is general mortgage knowledge. General terms. These are different questions related to general terms in the mortgage industry, definitions, things like that. That's 20%, so a fifth of the exam. Then we have mortgage loan origination activities, or the math. This is actually the biggest percent. This is 27%. These include story problems, working through scenarios, loan to value, debt to income. Those are those types of questions. And that is the biggest part of the exam at 27%. And then finally, we have the fifth area that you're tested on is ethics, which is 18%, a little less than a fifth of the exam. But this is an important area, and these questions typically blend in with federal law. And so ethics is an important aspect of being a mortgage loan originator, making sure that you are living and conducting business in a certain standard and a level that is your responsibility to be an ethical mortgage loan originator. And so there is a standard, there is a level of integrity that you need to conduct your business by. So these are the 5 areas that you're going to be tested on, and you're going to be given that score, and you need to take that and you need to really break it apart. Those 5 areas are going to tell you what you need to focus on, what you're excelling in, and what you're struggling in. Okay, so analyze the score, determine, okay, I am struggling in this area, and then take that national test outline that the NMLS provides, use that to build your new outline that you study on, and so that you can better those scores, you can improve those areas that you are struggling in. And so that's the second thing that you can do, is analyze your score once you get it and determine, where do I need to focus on, okay? So number 3, determine a new or better study method. There's lots of ways to study for a test. This goes back to when you're in elementary school. There's different ways to prepare. There's different ways to test your knowledge and grow your understanding of a certain topic. But let's take a minute and think about, what did you do well? And first of all, what did you do? How did you study for the national test? Did you study flashcards? Did you print off material that you brought with you, a paper? Did you study on your phone? Did you go on your computer? How many hours did you spend? How many hours did you spend in a day? Here at Mortgage Educators, we have a variety of resources, such as our Pass Plus app, where you can study on your phone, you can watch videos, you can also access lots of study materials, commentary, videos on a variety of topics, also practice tests, practice questions, you can test your knowledge. And so we have a variety of options, but you need to determine what you did and then what's going to be better for you. How do you learn? Have you ever asked yourself that? Have you ever asked, how do I learn, and how do I learn the best? And did you implement those strategies, or did you not? And let's determine moving forward. Remember, you have 30 days to take and pass the national test again if you fail. So you have at least a month to kind of determine what would be a better method for you to study. And so we have found that people that pass the national test, they add or improve a study method on their second and subsequent attempts, and they usually are more successful than those that do the same thing again. Okay, so determine what you're going to do different. What can you do better? Maybe something that didn't work. The bottom line is to make sure that you're putting in that time and effort, and you're spending that time consistently in your new method. And so whether you're listening, whether you're viewing, whether you're quizzing it or viewing videos, whether you're going back and forth with a study partner, a study group, you have to make sure to improve your method so that you can be successful and pass the national test on your next attempt. Okay, number 4, and this is so important. We can't stress this enough, of setting goals. Why should you set a goal? Well, you want to accomplish passing the national test. Remember, we're not going to be discouraged. We're going to be optimistic. But mapping out how you achieve passing the test needs to be in a clear written strategy for you a goal, and the best way that you can set goals to pass the national mortgage test is on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis, depending on when you set that new test date. We often like to encourage our students who haven't passed the national test to go ahead and set a new test date. Go into the NMLS Resource Center website, pick out a date that works, and put that as your ultimate goal, that you will pass it in day 32, day 45, day 60, whatever it is, and then map that out according to your schedule and set daily and weekly goals. Let me give you a couple examples. To set a daily goal, you could set a goal after you determine the area that you're struggling in to learn a certain topic. You want to learn about balloon loans. You want to learn about debt to income. You want to learn about loan to value. You want to learn about amortization. You want to learn certain terms, and you can do that on a daily basis. Remember, it's bits and pieces at a time. There's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of information that you're tested on. The NMLS, as it develops its test, it pulls from a variety of topics. You're going to see different questions than you did on the first exam. So you have to make sure to set those daily goals and coordinate that with the national test outline. So if there's an area that you're struggling in, if there's an area that you feel weak in, then set that as a goal on a daily basis to know a certain topic and to be able to explain it and bounce it off people. So set a daily goal, write it down, put it in your smartphone, and then by the end of each week, you're mapping out and you're achieving those goals. Today, I did this. By the end of the week, I know federal mortgage laws. By the end of the week, I know more about the uniform state content. By each and every week, if you map this out, you can get to the point where you're so much more confident going in to your subsequent attempt that you're going to be able to achieve this goal. So we get a lot of questions on, well, how far out should I go? How much more time should I study? Everyone learns a little bit differently, but it's consistent in our response where we say, you got to put the time in and you got to make sure that you're setting these goals so that it accommodates your schedule. We all live different lives, and so you have different needs. And so maybe you're doing different daily or weekly goals, and maybe it's further out. Maybe it's you have a job offer and you got to do on day 31 the soonest you can take it again. Or maybe it's a little bit further. You're having a harder time balancing your schedule, so you need to have a 60-day time frame. You need to have a 90-day time frame from your next attempt. We do encourage you to try to take the national test soon after you take your first attempt, because remember, retaining that knowledge is key. You have to retain the knowledge and to apply. After you get past that national test, there's several things that need to happen. You need to get sponsored, you need to go through a credit and a background check, and then you're just barely getting into the game as far as becoming a mortgage loan originator. So really, you need to determine what's a realistic goal that you can achieve as far as your time frame and your schedule. And then you also need to understand that you meet that ultimate goal of passing it on your next test attempt by meeting weekly and daily goals. It's achievable. You can do it. These are the 4 things that you should do if you don't pass the SAFE National Mortgage Test. Good luck, and make sure to tune in to Mortgage Educators and Compliance on our social media pages. Go to our test prep landing page on our website. We have a variety of topics, resources, and tools that you can use to better prepare for the national test. Use the NMLS National Test Outline, as well as the resource page on the outline that has a variety of links and other websites that you can go to study and create your own outline so you can pass on your next attempt.